When I printed it, I found it. How are you doing?
I'm all right. Thank you.
I'm Felicia.
I'm Joseph.
Joseph. Nice to meet you.
Kevin Roll. Joseph.
Say I knew everybody but you, Joseph. I remember you from before. 5 years ago when we printed.
Pretty much, yeah.
When we met 5 years ago.
Yeah.
Ready when you are.
Oh, am I turning it over to him?
Well, if you can just call it to order and then turn it over to him.
Okay. I turn the Codes Appeals Board meeting to order, and I turn it over to the City Council to establish the officers.
Yes, at this point, is there we're going to open the floor to nominations for chairman. Are there any motions to nominate someone?
Well, I'll just go ahead and nominate David Walter.
All right, we have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second. I'll go.
All right. We have a second. All those in favor, vote aye.
Aye.
All opposed? All right, at this point, I turn the meeting back over to Chairman Waldron.
Right. Sir, do we have a quorum? Okay. And the meeting was made known by publication?
Yes, sir.
Do I hear a motion for the approval of the minutes from the December the 20th, 2017?
Motion to approve.
Okay. Do I hear a second?
second.
Okay, Felicia seconds. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? It is approved. And looks like we need to nominate a vice chair for a one-year term. I'd like to nominate Felicia if that's in order.
Second.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Felicia? Welcome
Aye.
to vice chairmanship. All right, the new business is fire sprinkler system variance, proposed warehouse expansion to be located at 200 Old Waldron Road, tax map 15, parcel 24, consisting of 119 acres, property owned by the Tennessee Farmers Co-op. Enoch, I guess that's your cue. I guess you need to tell us who you are for the ones that don't know.
I'm Enoch Gerald with Huddleston Steel Engineering. Also, Mr. Bobby Brown, who put together this application with myself with the Tennessee Farmers. He's the plant manager of the Tennessee Farmers Co-op. Looking at, I guess the application sort of explains it, but in addition to the feed warehouse for bagged feed storage, once they got in looking at the building codes, it was going to require a sprinkler system. They do not have any sprinklers in their system today, and it's an unheated area, and quite frankly, they really don't need a sprinkler system for this. I mean, they've done some, I think the application had some demonstrations about this bagged feed really doesn't burn. So they're looking at a 11,200 square foot addition. It will be separated, will be firewalls in the building itself. But I don't know if there's any other details, Bobby, you want to add, but it's basically, you know, the sprinkler system is and we've worked with Fire Marshal Curtis, and he's been out there a time or two, and I don't know if you got anything to add, Curtis, but I think he's basically in concurrence that this facility can operate and function fine without this sprinkler system, so.
I've got one question. What is the composition or makeup of the firewalls in it?
They're block, aren't they? The firewall between this and the existing building, and it will be block.
Okay.
They do have I guess you got an opening for access back and forth.
Yeah, we got an opening for access.
Yeah. It's like I guess it's, I don't know what kind of material it is, but it's a breakaway thing to keep insects and bugs and things like that. They can't just keep roll-up door open anymore with the regulations for feeding this, that, and the other. They have to keep it closed at all time, but they do have an open between the two, an opening between the two for tow motors to go through.
Opening between the addition and the existing warehouse, the far wall part of it is over at our offices.
Right.
Any questions from the board?
I have some questions.
Yeah, sure.
So, you say you kind of gave us a example of part of the feed where some of it had was not burning. And when was the last time the feed was changed? Like, as in, how often do you guys reevaluate your products or change it in such a way that you have to make sure, like, one, it's not flammable, and when it is flammable, or you make that determination?
The formulations change, but basically it's the exact same ingredients. It's just a little more of this, a little less of that. And ingredients that go into that, once it's compressed into a pellet and once it's bagged like it is, it's all the same. It will smolder, and that's about all it'll do.
All right. And then my other question is, you kind of gave us some numbers here where it said it was cost prohibitive. But you said if a fire should ever occur in our feed warehouse without a sprinkler system, it would cost less than $3,000. So if it was made in such a way, how much is it going to cost you guys to redo it? How long would it take you to make up for having that addition into there, having the sprinkler system in there?
If you could approach the podium, the microphone would be helpful.
I'm Joe Huffine. I'm the manager of our feed, farm, and home and fleet division. The reason the cost prohibitive part, let me address that first and I'll get to your question. Total cost that we budgeted for this was going to be around $500,000. The cost to put a sprinkler system in was going to be around $250,000. We did not have the budget for that, and that's where the cost prohibitive part came into play. Our entire mill, and really the other facilities that we have on our campus across the street, there were no sprinkler systems in place. So the reason we were putting the expansion in was because our business and really agriculture in the state has changed from bulk feed to a lot of bag feeds. We're doing a lot of wildlife feeds. So bag feed requires a lot more storage, and that's all that we need is additional space to store product. All the feed that we manufacture is turned over in a 72-hour time period. Most of the time, the only exception of that would be what we call jobber feeds, that are products that are brought in. So the cost to replace, if we had that facility completely full, that with the add-on, you're looking at product that would cost $150 a ton, and the capacity to put in 200 to 400 tons of feed. That's kind of where the cost of replacement of the product is. So being cost prohibitive, we couldn't justify spending an additional $250,000 to store some product.
Okay. That makes some sense. And then you said the only people that go through there are the security and forklift drivers?
That's correct.
How many people do you have that go through it on a daily basis?
In the entire plant, or just that?
Or that would be going through this specific addition?
Probably 4 to 5.
45 people?
4 to 5.
Oh, 4 to 5. Okay.
And those would be employees that are on the floor that drive tow motors, not all at the same time, but at any point in time. And we've got security on our facilities 24 hours a day. In the evenings, we generally shut the feed mills down at 3:30 to 4. We've got a night crew there, but we've got a security crew that goes throughout the entire facility. We've got 2 security on hand at all times.
Okay. That concludes my questions.
Any other questions?
Yeah. Are there any interior walls in this space, or is it just one big open space? Is that big open space?
Does any of the other board members have any questions? Since you have been there and seen, have you got any comments or thoughts from the fire department or?
No, sir. I mean, co-op's always been very good on handling safety issues. They keep a well-managed plant, and they have a lot of safety procedures already set in place. What you're looking at right now is the city ordinance of 5,000. The International Fire Code 2012 edition, which what we currently have adopted, would not require them to have sprinklers in this building. We would look at this as being like a moderate hazard storage, which is an S1. Anything over 12,000 square foot would require this building to be sprinkled. They are putting up firewalls, so technically you could look at it being a separated building from the existing, which still wouldn't require sprinklers be installed per the fire code. So obviously the ordinance states 5,000 square foot, but the International Fire Code does not.
So if, other than the city's ordinance, it would comply with the International Builders Code?
Yes, sir, because you look at anything from a height proportion, like if it's a mezzanine over 24,000 square foot, which this is not going to be the case at all. Certain occupancy load ratings, which they're not going to meet that either. So essentially looking at the square footage, which in this particular case for this type of facility would be 12,000 square foot. And
Okay.
they're coming in under that substantially to some extent.
Okay.
And with the firewalls, being proposed, I'm sure they're going to put some form of fire rated door as far as the drop down. I would think, according to the fire code, they would meet everything. So to answer your question, yes, it would simply be a variance for the city ordinance itself.
Okay. Larry, have you got any thoughts from y'all's department?
No, Curtis just covered them, basically. The roll-up door, that is a fire-rated door?
Roll-up door, that one is not.
But that would be the exterior door. I think he's referring to the one between the plant
Between the
and,
existing and the new warehouse,
Well, between the existing and new house, the current door is not.
okay?
We can
Do you,
change that.
do you have plans to put fire-rated? Okay.
will y'all be reviewing the plans before they start construction? That's what I thought, so.
I think the request today was to supervise the ordinance to where we could build without putting the sprinkler systems in. And we-
But the plans would still have to be reviewed by the
Sure,
codes
sure.
department,
Right.
so. Any other input?
No, sir, you're correct. I mean, we all have a tech review meeting, which includes fire. Any code-related person involved in the build would be there for that as well, so.
Well, I grew up right down the road from y'all, and I remember when the only industry in Laverne was the Tennessee Farmers Co-op, and I went off to college in West Tennessee, and a lot of people, I'd say, I'm from Laverne, Tennessee. That's Tennessee Farmers Co-op. Every bag of feed had Laverne, Tennessee on it, so that was my claim to fame when I went off to college. So I just wanted to say thank you for being a part of this community since I think your paperwork said 1958. So
We were formed in 1945 and moved here in the 50s. Started in Columbia with Farm Bureau downtown, but I've had the property here.
Right, and y'all proceed all van up the road here, and Bridgestone didn't come till the 70s. So y'all offered jobs to people long before anyone else did, and I do want to say thank you.
And we're a farmer-owned business. We're not a privately held or a corporation. We're very much a farmer-owned business, and any profits we make are returned back to the farmers across the state. And we appreciate you all taking the time to review this, and I hope you'll see in favor of passing this that we can build the facility. And Mr. Joseph, to your point, and I'll reemphasize this: if we were asked to put a sprinkler system in, we would not. we would not be able to build the facility. So thank you.
Do I hear a motion from the board?
I make a motion to approve.
Okay.
Second.
Okay. So we have a motion and a second. I'd like to call for a voice vote. So everyone in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Anyone opposed? Any other business? We stand adjourned.